What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the You Know Ball Podcast. I am your host, Trill Bro Dude, and we are in the thick of the second round of the playoffs. Last night, I don't think there were any games on last night, but I think tonight the second round tips off.
Yep.
Nope. Sixers play tomorrow.
Sorry, game. I'm not letting you get away with this. The Wolves did beat the Spurs yesterday. That was the first game of the second round yesterday. By the way, surely the Wolves won't make the Western Conference Finals again.
I'm literally Lucy with the football every year with the Wolves, and I just have to accept the fact that they are the new Miami Heat.
Yeah.
And what they do in the regular season, I almost think they could be the 10 seed and make the Western Conference Finals at this point, because it's kind of like they're built for playoff basketball. They got all these forwards and wings. Rudy's a demon defender and is playing through the Giannis knee injury from the 2021 finals that we haven't seen someone come back this quickly since then. But let's not let me get out of this too easily because we do have the people did come here to hear. I did an episode on the Patreon a little bit earlier today with Jason Buford and his cousin Alexander reacting to the first game of the Knicks and the Sixers series. But I said that on that episode, and I'll say it here again. You know, we do have a championship hangover. We did just win the championship 3 days ago. I mean, like, we probably had an actual hangover, I would imagine, from all of the travel and the partying, and they probably had a parade and a banner hung in the days in between. I would imagine ring night is game 3 of the Sixers-Knicks series in Philadelphia.
Right.
The Celtics blew a 3-1 lead.
Everyone's holding out their hand.
The greatest accomplishment in the history of the Philadelphia 76ers. But no, I
know everyone I do want to talk about that game a little bit, because I do think if you guys didn't get this is going to sound absurd, but I think if you guys didn't get your doors blown off, like, I didn't mind the game plan from Nurse. I thought it was like a pretty good game plan, but like Cat and Robinson had 2 fouls before the end of the first quarter. Like, I was like, oh, and the Knicks were pretty far ahead. I think it was like 10 or 11 points at the end of the first quarter. I was like, I see the vision though. Like, hang around, like, get these guys in foul trouble, and then Embiid can just destroy them down the stretch if there's anything. And you guys kind of survived the no Maxey Embiid minutes to start the second too. Like, everybody was like, Paul George was hitting threes, like everything was going well, and then just the fucking wheels fell off because the Knicks like just didn't miss any long 2s or 3s, basically, like, at any point in time. So
I'll say this much. I don't want to
also turn the ball over a ton, but
I don't want to overreact to one game. But I think it's obvious that there are a lot more issues that this Knicks team presents, even though we did get crushed in the first game of the Sixers and Celtics series. The difference is that Joel Embiid did not play until game 4 of that series. And when he did come back, he had his classic, everyone adjust to Joel coming back, and they looked like shit in both of those games 1 and 4. And then they ended up winning the series anyway. But I do, the one thing I will say that the Knicks present a different problem than this Celtics team did, mainly due to the fact that the Sixers' main issue in this series is going to be the fact that I don't even know how he's getting through all of these injuries, but it's clear that between the original knee injury that he had, the appendicitis surgery that he had, the every day we get a new injury popping up on the injury report. After the Celtics series, it was a hip. After last night, he sprained his ankle. Like, there's always something new popping up with Joel on the injury report when we end up checking it after every single game. And the thing that I will say is that this Knicks team went at him. They were attacking him. And the Sixers really did not have any sort of way to deal with the Cat and Brunson 2-man game in a way that I felt like while the Celtics got hot and hit their threes like the Knicks did last night, it wasn't really a fundamental issue that the Celtics were posing for the Sixers. In this game, it felt more like Brunson wants to get into the mid-range. So if you're going to run drop coverage and your guy is trailing him on a screen, he's fine with that. Cat wants to run pick and pops. Cat wants to float outside on the perimeter and make plays and hit cutters. And they want to have that style of offense. And with this version of Embiid, who has been an absolute warrior battling all through those games, and especially game 7, when it looked like he got hurt 3 different times, all the respect in the world to him, but it's going to be a fundamental problem, I think, in this matchup that the Sixers have to figure out a way to solve. And the only things that I've thought of really over the last day since this game has happened is basically, can you try to make it so that it's hard to hide bigs on defense relative to a guard like Brunson. And can you make it so that Embiid isn't involved in every single action? Because that's all the Knicks were doing. They were like, all right, whoever Embiid is guarding, we'll just have him run a screen and then he'll get into the action. And it was, I think they said it was the 3rd worst performance of Joel's career in terms of points per pick. So if he was getting targeted in the pick and roll, they scored like 1.7 points per possession or something, which is astronomical. And that's the difference between this version of Joel Embiid and a younger version of Joel Embiid when it was 2019 through 2023, when he was really in the peak of his defensive prime. He was, even when the offense wasn't there for him, his defense was still incredible. Like, I mean, his rim protection was some of the best in the playoffs that we saw every single year, and he could shut off the paint in a way that he just kind of struggles to do now because he just lacks the mobility post knee injury. And what I would imagine that they'll try to do at some point in this series, I think game 2 is really the big, in the last series, it was the big game for the Sixers. And we've talked about how the Knicks and the Celtics are a little bit of a mirror image of each other in terms of they tend to win big games and then have letdown games right afterwards. Yeah. And this game 2 is so important because, one, I think the Knicks are too good to fall behind 2-0 after you just basically burned yourself out to get back into the Celtics series. And then played a game 7, 1 day of rest, travel, and then a game 1.
You weren't going to make the point, so I'll just say it. This is one of our first ever playoff schedule losses. It was so. I was not particularly fazed. I saw a lot of overreactions. I saw Chiodo said that the Knicks are clearly way better than the Celtics, and all this other stuff. And I don't know, maybe that's all true. I mean, the Knicks certainly looked better than the Celtics down the stretch of the thing.
The last 3 games, they've been unbelievable.
I get it. They were playing the Atlanta Hawks when CJ McCollum is not doing a SGA impression, which I think is a very different team from the Sixers team. I'm not saying the series will change. Who knows? Maybe the Knicks do sweep the Sixers. My point is, I'm not taking anything out of that game 1 because everyone was fucking exhausted, dude. I don't know. I have no dog in this fight at all. I think obviously I'm annoyed with Sixers fans after all the posting over the past 3 days. I'm annoyed with Knicks fans for just generally being Knicks fans. So I don't give a shit. Like whatever happens, I'm a completely neutral observer. I thought it was a little bit of a rush to crown the Knicks. The Knicks will probably win this series, and they probably will do so convincingly. I don't know if how game 1 played out is where I'm going to hang my hat on the analysis.
No, I think the Sixers will compete better just because even if this is just a matchup that they can't win the series, the Knicks' shot quality was incredible, and I think they will probably win the shot quality battle over the course of this series.
I don't know about that because that's the other thing is I think there's a coaching advantage here.
We'll see.
Like,
I think Mike Brown's done a really good job ever since that really the 3rd game of the Hawk series. Like I feel like there was something that fundamentally changed with their offense when they switched over to it's going to be more of Cat running the offense and a 2-man game.
I think the difference was the Hawks started missing more shots and you get out in semi-transition. I don't know if there was a Mike Brown adjustment outside of letting Cat cook a little bit more, which he should get credit for. But like, I don't know. I was really impressed with Nurse's game plan in the last series. I'm interested to see where this. I don't think this series is over. Just because there was a game where it was over at halftime. I guess.
And people posted this as cope, but I genuinely do believe that I'm like, it would have been worse if they were down 15 the whole time and Nurse didn't pull the starters until 3 minutes left in the game or whatever, 2 minutes left in the game.
Yeah,
because they have no rest for this whole series, basically. Like it's game break. Like there's not 2 days between games until game 7 of the series, and we might not even get to game 7 of the series. So the Sixers need to take every advantage when they have games like this, which they've shown time and time again. They are able to bounce back from games like this. They can kind of just flush it and move on to the next one and try to compete a little bit better. The thing is that they just need to not kill everyone's legs, because I really do think between those last 3 games, they really had to go crazy because of their lack of depth, and that's the one massive advantage that, like, once again, I think they lost last night because everyone played like shit except for Paul George. And I think that is if this is the Maxey and Embiid we get for the series, then yeah, it's over. But if we get a Maxey and Embiid that are, playing with just not playing as out of control as they played last night, not relying too much on getting to the line, and then also not getting targeted on defense quite as much, it could be a completely new series. But the depth difference between these, like, they have real NBA players that come off their bench, which we knew coming into the series. We knew, like, oh, right, like they have like Mitchell Robinson and Deuce McBride, and even like Jose Alvarado didn't play a ton, but like Landry Shamet's an NBA player. Like, these guys, they're not starters or stars, but they know their roles. They play their roles well. And like, I was getting a little bit upset when the Sixers were not able to take advantage of the Landry Shamet, the Deuce McBride, Jordan Clarkson, Jalen Brunson lineup. I'm like, you have Jordan Clarkson at the 3. I feel like we should be able to take advantage of this, even if, the overall result of the game was that we weren't going to win. But the
got to Ariel Huckporty minutes pretty quickly.
Well, they had to because of the Hackamich. That's the only reason he had to play.
But why is that going to change?
I'm not saying
in the course of the series. I'm just saying, like, that was quick. That's alarming to me if I'm a Knicks fan.
If you wanted to do the why won't that happen, they might just figure out ways to get Mitch into the game so that you can't just foul him off the ball and not give him the ball, which is because they put Huckporty in for 1 minute. And then they put Mitch back in because in the last 2 minutes of a quarter, you can't foul someone off the ball and get them to the line. So maybe they just run Cat up to the 2 minutes and then try to fit as much of Mitch's minutes into those final 2 minutes in a quarter throughout the course of a game. And also just hope that outside of those minutes that the Sixers aren't willing to foul him. But we'll see. I mean, I do think that should be the strategy. Like, I think that they should be using Justin Edwards and Adembona and those guys off the bench. Adembona played garbage time last night, had 5 fouls in 5 minutes. Incredible work from him. But the overall gist I have of this game and this series is that the Sixers need to come out and throw their best punch in game 2, because I think that game 2 is incredibly important when you are looking at I personally feel like there is a talent gap throughout the rotation. Like, the Sixers are playing basically fringe NBA players outside of their starters. And then I feel like the Knicks.
Wow. Grimes plays like that. Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, Grimes was terrible. Grimes had one of his worst games of the season. But I also and Grimes has actually had some success against the Knicks. I've said this is not on Kelly Oubre. Last night was not on Kelly Oubre, even though he kind of had
pretty well. I thought he I get that the stat line was ugly. I thought he played like pretty well.
Actually, I thought his stats looked better than how he played. But the difference.
I only watched the first half.
Here's my thing with Kelly.
Yeah,
Kelly was great defensively for us in the last series. There are multiple things in this series that, like, the Knicks can high Brunson on Oubre because Oubre is just trying to take him off the dribble and it's not working. And he can just drive him in to help. And then I'm like, you basically have a way to completely hide Brunson on defense if you do that. And then on the flip side of that, he always struggled with, like, he gave him some problems early in the series, a few years ago, but Brunson solved that matchup. And then the other thing I would say is that the only time the Sixers have had success against the Knicks this year, now there's a lot of factors going into that. Some guys were in and out of the lineups, whatever. You can't take too much from the regular season. But the main games where they had success against the Knicks was the games where they were able to get out running. They had 3 guard lineups with Maxey, Grimes, and VJ, and Grimes was terrible last night. So it's not like he's making a great case for himself to start or play big minutes. So those 3, and then the other time, like they're Owen, I'm almost positive this is true. I didn't look it up, but I'm fairly certain this is true. They were 2-0 against the Knicks this season when Oubre didn't play, and 0-3 when he did play. Not saying it's all his fault. We got blown out in one of those games. I'm just saying it is a weird matchup for him because they can hide Brunson on him on defense, which is exactly what they did 2 years ago in the playoffs. And the Sixers just really lack size when you have Oubre out there trying to, okay, now we're switching him onto OG, and OG's just taking him to the basket. And it's one of those things where it's like the Kelly, like you should know early in the next game whether Kelly has it or not and be able to make a switch. And my personal choice would be try Dom Barlow, just because I know Dom Barlow isn't, like, he's a very flawed player. He can't shoot. I understand that, but it makes it harder to hide Brunson on defense, which is why VJ took it to him in the regular season. When they switched Brunson onto VJ last night, he got to the rim basically like 3 straight times in the second half. And it feels like if they're not able to easily hide Brunson on defense, they at least gives you a shot to generate some decent half-court offense. And then defensively, Barlow just is way more of a big man style defender. He'll give you size. He'll give you the ability to protect the rim a little bit. And also, I think you can probably, he'll probably get killed by Karl Anthony Towns, but you at least can try that matchup and see if he can give him any sort of resistance. And if that is the case, then you can try the Embiid on Hart thing and make Josh Hart beat you by making open threes like he did in 2024. So long and short of this is that I do think that the Knicks have several advantages in this series that they can exploit from the Sixers, but I don't think the Sixers, I still feel the same way that I felt going into this series, which is that these Sixers do have a puncher's chance if they can kind of, iron out some issues that they have going into this matchup.
It's funny because you didn't bring up the one thing that I do think is just kind of a bulletproof Knicks advantage, which is OG and Anunoby. I don't think you guys have anyone for OG. If he's kind of transformed as like
65% from the field, then we're gonna lose.
He's just been doing that all playoffs, though. Like, no, I think he's kind of a different guy now. Like, that's the thing.
If he's doing that, it's over. It's like, but also you have to pick and choose your battles. Like, I would rather have. I thought
Brunson was a little unsustainably hot last night.
That's what I was gonna say. I would rather force it into. The real reason why Brunson's been able to succeed since they switched off this is because the defense is just slanted already by the time he gets the ball, as opposed to him just going in isolation. And we don't have the Dyson Daniels level defender, but we do have a few guys we could throw at him. And the new offense where they've been spreading this ball around with Hart as a connector and Cat as a hub and the 2-man game with Brunson and Cat and why that's so hard to guard and stuff, that gets everyone involved. And it feels like all of these guys are kind of hot hand scorers. Like, they're not, like, OG has famously hated standing in a corner, and Cat is someone who famously has complained about his role on the team before. Bridges kind of gets lost in the shuffle sometimes, and he was lights out last night. So the long and short of this is that I do think that the Knicks have a lot of can pose a lot of problems for the Sixers. But once again, Nurse made a lot of adjustments last series. I need to see if they get destroyed in game 2, then I'm like, yeah, the season might be over. But if they compete and they take them down to the wire and they have a chance to win at the end, then I'll feel much better about this, even if they lose the game. And I mean, I've said it before, I think this is basically house money for us. But at the same time, I think the Knicks and the Sixers, every team in the East right now should look at this opportunity as like the golden opportunity of all golden opportunities. You have a Celtics team that has kind of run the East the last few years in terms of at least making a conference finals, if not the conference finals, the second round. They've made the NBA finals twice. The Pacers, who have made the conference finals twice, and the Pacers who made the finals last year and almost won the whole thing. And both of those teams are out of the picture. And you have teams around you that, like, the Celtics could reload this offseason. The Pacers could reload this offseason, with, especially because they added Zoo already. They potential to add a top 4 pick. Like, it is probably the most dire for all of these teams left to win the conference this year. Like, it is the most open it's been in quite some time. We all saw this coming, except for Trajan Langdon and Daryl Morey for some reason. Those are the only 2 guys in the whole world that didn't know that you could upgrade your team at the deadline and try to make a push to make the NBA finals in a wide open conference year. But, you know, it would be really nice to have Knicks killer Najee Marshall coming off our bench right now. I'll say that much. But the long and short of all of this is that all of these matchups in the second round, I think all of them should be fairly competitive series, except for Thunder Lakers. But then again, like, look, the Thunder are way more talented than the Lakers. They have advantages all over in this matchup. They killed the Lakers the last time they played, although that was the game that Reeves and Luka got hurt in. But I would imagine that with Luka being out and even with the upset they pulled off in the first round against the Rockets, I would imagine that the Thunder take care of business in the second round matchup. And I don't know if it's a sweep. Like, I do think the Lakers might be able to steal a game. Maybe if they get lucky, they could steal 2 games. But I have a hard time seeing that one going further than 5 games, really. And then all the other series, like, I think Pistons Cavs is a great series. I think Wolves Spurs is a great series. And I think Sixers Knicks, depending on how game 2 goes, could also be a great series. So yeah, this is a really good second round. I mean, it feels like we've never had as chaotic of a first round as we just had. I can't remember the last time we had as chaotic of it. Like, Bill did this whole thing where he ran down everything that happened, like the Nuggets getting upset by, Jaden McDaniels and Terrence Shannon Jr. and all these guys, the Celtics blowing the 3-1 lead, the Magic blowing the 3-1 lead as the 8 seed. Like, it feels like the Raptors having their back against, or the Cavs having their back against the wall against the Raptors. It feels like we haven't had that much craziness happen in round 1. So I can't sit here and act like I know what's going to happen in the next round, because if I did, I wouldn't have told you that the Wolves were going to get eliminated in the first round. And
yeah, I was going to say, for all that though, the only 2 higher seeds that really lost were the Celtics and the Nuggets, which is very funny.
Which is a bizarro.
Yeah.
Like, as I said before, on the Patreon podcast we did the other day, I felt like I stepped into another dimension where it's like the teams that we thought were the surefire playoff teams kind of weren't this year. And maybe that was due to things that we kind of forecasted that were just based on previous years and their previous success. But I do feel like this is, I don't know. I kind of like, I've been pretty much, I picked Thunder Knicks as my finals before the season. Then I picked it again before the playoffs. I kind of think this is like, I do think that it's realistic that like, it's really only 3 or 4 teams that can win the title. But I do think that whatever the finals matchup is, like, I don't think that whoever comes out of the East is dead on arrival against the West. And the Spurs and the Wolves game, which I want to talk about right now, that happened last night. Like, I was getting extremely high on the Spurs. I was like,
yeah,
they don't lose games. Wemby is literally the greatest playoff defender we've ever seen, maybe.
Yeah.
Everything under the sun I was saying about this Spurs team that I was just like, maybe they're the exception. Maybe the playoff experience thing doesn't matter as much as people make it out to be when you have a generational player and enough creation and shooting and talent around him. And then in game 1 of this series, the Wolves played a bully ball style, and they proved that the importance of having wing and forward depth in the playoffs is still extremely important when you're talking about this matchup. The wings and forwards on the Spurs that we worried about before the deadline, but kind of threw to the side when the Spurs just stopped losing games, very similarly to the Pistons. It's undersized Keldon Johnson, Steph Castle basically trying to play as a wing, even though, and same with Devin Vassell, and then Harrison Barnes. And I do wonder if the Wolves just pose so many matchup problems for these teams because they have basically put a ton of their chips on the one thing that seems to matter every single playoffs, which is just having a ton of wing and forward talent that really gives a ton of problems for these teams that lack it in these matchups. And like Julius Randle was cooking last night. He actually played really good defense on Wemby as well. I was watching the fourth quarter and I was sitting in shock reading I didn't catch most of the beginning of the game. I was sitting in shock because De'Aaron Fox was had 8 points in the fourth quarter, and they said, and Fox is at 8 points in the fourth. He's up to 10 points on the game, and I was like, he had 2 points through 3 quarters, and that's just what happened to Jamal Murray in the last round too, where they boxed up Jamal Murray, they boxed up Jokic. Now they're so far one game they boxed up Wemby and Fox in the first game. And they still had a chance. Once again, the last shot of the game, they had a chance to win it. Wide open shot. Champagny misses the shot. We could be having a different conversation today if that shot goes in, but it didn't. And now the Wolves are up 1-0 on the road. And I just genuinely don't know how you're losing all of these guys. Ann is playing with the runner's knee plus this new hyperextension on his knee, and they're still winning playoff games. Like what has to happen for this team to lose in the playoffs? This is insane. I even think it's almost beyond the Heat, because at least with the Heat you could be like, I guess Jimmy Butler did sprain his ankle that one year when they beat the Knicks and he missed 2 games. But it's so rare to see so many guys miss time for a team, and not a team that's particularly deep with talent. They lost Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They traded away Karl Anthony Towns. Dante DiVincenzo now has his Achilles injury. They just always pull something out of their ass, and they're now hanging with a team that looked for a stretch to be pretty unbeatable.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess, New Year, same story with the Wolves. You know what I'm saying?
You were saying it all year. You were like, are we sure? And I was like, their fans want to kill themselves on my timeline every day.
I just because I remember feeling this way about the Wolves last year, and then they just did it again. It's
I chalked up last year to injuries, but clearly they're just better in the playoffs.
They're just better in the playoffs. I do think Ant is kind of special. I think he is probably due for a little bit of stock inflation. We do this thing where we inflate a guy's stock and then kill him later on. But I think Ant, more than anyone else, has kind of weathered that storm and is probably has some claim to, like it or not, being the 5th best player in the world. I think right now,
he's only played 25 minutes in the last 3 games though. This is why I'm saying what I'm saying, which is that I'm not saying that Ant wasn't considering the circumstances. He's toughing it out. He's braving through it. I'm not saying that. But I didn't even think Ant looked like Ant in the first round, and they're still doing it. That's why it's such a shock to me.
I'm saying that. Well, I part of that's Rudy, right? I think the other thing is I kind of have egg on my face because it's fun to hate Rudy because he's not a good guy and is a favorite of calculator rats. He's got a lot of qualities that are, let's just say, catnip to guys like me to attack them and make fun of them. I'm kind of taking a massive L here. I mean, I think that the nerds might have been cooking with Rudy Gobert, or the kind of as when they made that trade, kind of the book was that Rudy Gobert is a regular season player who falls apart in the playoffs and kind of didn't really, his numbers were better than his actual defense. Yeah. And that it was kind of an inflated number of defensive player of the years. Kind of now it's back to back fucking destroyed. This is back to back where he's got an assignment on one of the 3 best players of the world and has been up for it, So, what do you what do you make of that? I mean, again, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because I feel like we always come on here and we start reacting to like
No, you're
games
right.
and then
You're right.
something like,
Because the Blazers beat the Spurs once.
Yeah.
And Wemby still had 12 blocks in this game. Like,
some of them were
they were borderline.
I was gonna say,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong, but they were like, he's, even if you take away the 4 blocks or whatever, he still had 8 blocks in this game. And this is, this was what we were projecting to be like a legacy run for him. And I still think the way that he can shut off the paint in the rim, and like, they could turn this around and win this series in 5 games. I'm not saying that. The fact that the Wolves keep winning these games is what is the story to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that they're going to win this series. It's that they just pose matchup problems for every single team they play in the playoffs, and they always outplay their talent. Like, Mike Conley last night was a plus 13 in 24 minutes. I've never seen Mike Conley is 38 years old. Like, this is the kind of shit that only the true Devil Magic teams get away with. And by the way, before the playoffs began, there was a TikTok that I got on my feed that this guy does a formula every year where he talks about this team's going to win the finals because of these numbers. And he breaks it down. All right, this team leads the league in field goal percentage or whatever, top 5 in this, top 5 in defense, top 5 in 3-point percentage, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And so he did 2023, he picked the Nuggets to win. 2024, he picked the Celtics. 2025, he picked the Thunder. Those ones were a little bit more obvious going into the playoffs. Every team that he picked was a 1 seed to win the finals. So it's not a massive shock. And the team that he picked this year, and I laughed at it, was the Timberwolves. He was like, the Timberwolves are in all these stats, like they're near the top of the league in all these stats, and they have debatably a top 10 player in Anthony Edwards, and da-da-da, and like, I laughed it off, and now it's not likely because they still would have to win this Spurs series.
They would have the most insane path to a finals ever if they...
I mean, Nuggets, Spurs, Thunder, just to get to the finals and probably be the underdogs if the Knicks get there.
Yeah. Like, that would be the most insane like finals path of all time. Like,
it would really be this year's version of the Pacers, but with much less talent available. Like that's what I'm saying. Is like,
and also that's a harder road than anything the Pacers had.
Sure. But I just mean the sheer craziness of how their run came together and how they almost won the finals.
The bad news is I remember how they looked against the Thunder last year, and I think no matter what, even if they get past this, my concern is
J-Dub was great in that series. If he doesn't play, I think that's a different series.
Maybe, I don't know. Donald Trump is president. It does seem like we're heading towards another Oklahoma City Thunder title for where they play 1.5 good teams. At some point. So we'll see. I will be penciling in the Thunder victory parade until I see something contrary, because it seems like that's what's going to happen at this point. But
I mean, it's definitely possible. J-Dub had 2 extremely good games in the sweep of the Wolves. I think it was the sweep last year. But I'll say this much: if J-Dub isn't right and the Lakers, once again, I picked the Thunder to win the West. I think they should. But if the Wolves can get through this Spurs team, I don't think they're dead on arrival just because they've kind of defied everything that I believe about them as a team. I kind of just have to throw all of that out of the window. I do wonder with the Wolves and the Sixers are a lesser version of this, but they do feel like kind of teams, the second you start believing in them, they let you down, which is why I was petrified when everyone was jumping on the Sixers bandwagon after Game 6 in the Celtics series, because I was like, no, pretend like we're not here. No, don't do that. With the Wolves, it's kind of similar, where every time I doubt them, they just win. And then the second I start to be like, you know what? Maybe they can win. They can beat the Spurs. Maybe they can beat the Thunder. Then they just go into a shell and, they underperform, and I would imagine we'll get a very locked in Spurs team in this second game, at home, defending home court. I would imagine they'll have a better game plan I was shocked that they didn't call a timeout. There was like 6 seconds left in the game. They got a good shot out of it because they ran in transition, but the whole team kind of froze. Mitch Johnson didn't call the timeout on the final possession, which then, obviously led to a mad scramble that got Champagny an open 3 to win the game. But first time head coach versus a guy who's been here a few times. The forward and wing stuff might continue to rear its head. And congratulations, De'Aaron Fox, on being the first pick in the expansion draft in 2.5 years from now, when your contract is made available by the San Antonio Spurs. Because I don't know about you, but my feeling watching that game, I was just like, we criticized them. You criticized them for the Fox trade at first. I liked it, but I didn't like the extension. I was like, just giving this guy this much money seems kind of insane. Especially after you just drafted Dylan Harper.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to think, like, if Fox really struggles this series.
Yeah. It's not
and
good.
Harper just continues to look like I don't think there's a gap between them now. Like, Harper has been just as good, if not better.
It got pretty fast. We'll see. I mean, also, like, if the Spurs get out of this one, things kind of change series to series sometimes too. Like, we've done this before. It's just such a small sample size. You know what I'm saying? I like it for my agendas. I want to believe you, but like we've seen this so many times.
No, what I'm saying is that I think that it's a good problem to have, to be clear. Mm-hmm. To be like, oh no, we have one too many guys that can, create their own shot and create their own offense. But like, the Fox stuff has popped up in big games all year for them. And at a certain point, Dylan Harper's just going to become undeniably that guy. And you just spent the second pick of the draft in him. And usually when these guys are on rookie contracts, you want to be like, hey, let's take advantage of this, right? Let's build the right team. And I genuinely think, it would be a backstabbing move. But if Fox doesn't perform up to the level of his contract and the level of, I genuinely think they should consider moving on from him, only because I just think Harper's that good. This is less about Fox, and I know that he struggled in big games and had a stinker last night, but like, to me, it's more like your ceiling is higher with Dylan Harper and Wemby, and you can maximize the roster around this dynamic duo of players, instead of paying De'Aaron Fox $55-60 million a year or whatever it is. So we'll see. I mean, once again, we'll come back to this. I'm not going to overreact to one game. I just think that's been like a bigger picture story for them the whole season. And now if it rears its head at this moment, it kind of becomes the elephant in the room that you can't really deny. Even though Fox, to his credit, Fox got them to this 2 seed and this path that they have right now in the playoffs, because when Wemby didn't play this year, Fox was really good, but like the Harper Wemby minutes were better. So just saying, if you're building around Wemby, I think the Harper Wemby pairing plus a bunch of forwards and wings, which they could seemingly use, would be a lot nicer than the De'Aaron Fox combo, kind of blocking that.
But the Fox Jaylen Brown trade is
I've thought about that. I thought about Fox and Jaylen Brown, but then I'm like Jaylen, like ideally you could play Jaylen at the 3. But I'm wondering if they just want, once again, every time we have this dilemma, we're like, oh, just trade the guard for a forward / wing who's athletic and can shoot and can defend and can handle the ball. Like, there's literally like 4 of these guys in the NBA and they all get paid near max contracts. Yeah. Like, it is a lot easier said than done, but when we get to the offseason, we can start brainstorming on some guys that they might be able to bring in to fit that mold.
If they hadn't traded for Garland, I would say I would ask if he was coming home. I would ask if Kawhi was coming home, but
oh my God.
But the Garland, it just doesn't fit with Garland. You can't trade Fox for.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Kawhi would actually be perfect on this. Those two. Yeah. To be honest with you, especially if Kawhi plays defense the way that he did this past year. But 1 year left on the most dangerous thing in the world is trading for Kawhi Leonard with 1 year left on his contract. It never works out for anyone. Anyway, Masai just got hired by just real quick before we get into that, no thoughts on Thunder's Lakers, I assume? No.
I don't. So, again, will be a incredibly boring series. Luca not being available is just such a bummer.
Can I,
Who would even tune
can I
in?
get off a take?
Sure, go ahead.
Are we sure? Are we sure that Luka's
Yes.
hanging out with? I'm just saying. I kind of think that Luka is a fantastic player. Luka was the reason that they won. Now, look, PJ Washington made all those threes, yes, but Luka was the reason that PJ Washington got all those open threes. The last game that he played against the Thunder and earlier in the year against the Celtics, I remember, I was like, oh, this is, and Luka's still incredible. I'm not saying that Luka was a demon down the stretch of the season, but I do wonder if they're not going to win this series. Like, they don't have a chance to win this series. But I do wonder if they just figure out a way to play with a little bit more pace and kind of get a little bit more unpredictable if they can steal a game. Like, Luka slows everything down to such a halt that I feel like their offense might get a little bit. Thunder defense might be able to defend them a little bit easier.
They can win a game, sure. Like, they can win a game. Honestly, they maybe could even if like OKC goes really cold from 3-1 game, they could maybe even like win 2. I just like it's just kind of like useless without Luka because I think OKC is you need to like scare OKC, I think a little bit. Like, I don't think that if they're not getting rattled, they're like, they're kind of like, they'll just like play through anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of need to like rattle them in order to do that. And Luka's one of the only guys who's done that. So I think the psychological, that's why I'm not honestly not too worried about the Wolves for them. Because they're gonna play pretty confident against the Wolves. Like, I think Jokic kind of scared them a little bit. I think Luka scares them like a little bit. I think Wemby would probably scare them a little bit if it got to that point. But I just don't think that they're.
I think of all the teams left in the playoffs, the Knicks have the best chance of beating the Thunder.
I mean, the way the Knicks are playing right now, sure. If you could tell me that that's the Knicks, I'm not saying the Knicks don't have a great top gear and they've looked awesome. The playoffs are really fucking long, and I've seen the Knicks let's just say not show some of the most mental toughness I've ever seen in my life. But at the same, I know I'm a Celtics fan saying this, like, obviously my team's not exactly bastions of that either, but like I think the Knicks are going to we're going to see a couple more stinkers from the Knicks before this playoffs are over.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I also don't think that you can really overreact to stinker. I looked back at the Pacers Knicks from 2 years ago, and there were like multiple blowouts in that series. I think that the Knicks, see, the thing is I've kind of thought of them as more of like, this is going to sound insane coping. I kind of think they're almost mentally tough merchants. Like, I think that every time everyone wants to pour the dirt on the Knicks, like they were down 2-1 and everyone was like, it's over, trade, and then they just like reeled off 3 straight wins. And I was like, well, this is annoying. And obviously the talent gap is much larger in that series than it would be in any other series that they play against a real contender. But I feel as though every time it feels like the Knicks are about to die, they kind of resurrect themselves and end up having a big win in a big moment. They're so Celtics coded from the past. It's kind of insane.
Yeah.
But the main difference, like I said, like the unpredictability of the Knicks offense right now just feels harder to guard than kind of most of the teams that, like, even with Luka, who can kind of, what you're going to get when you go up against a Luka offense. It doesn't mean that you can stop it, but you know exactly in which direction it's going to go. It feels like there are a lot more moving pieces with this Knicks team, and it feels like there are a lot more. And honestly, maybe
is that how you beat the Thunder, though?
I don't know how I mean, that's kind of how the Pacers hung with them last year. And Hallie's obviously like this insane.
I was going to say, I think that was more of a Halliburton thing. I think you beat the Thunder with an elite talent at the top. which is kind of, and if Cat's not cooking, that's like kind of the one thing they don't have. So
Brunson with their perimeter defenders would be interesting because their perimeter defenders are some of the best guard defenders in the NBA. But Brunson's also cooked those guys in the past too. And if Brunson's playing more of this off the ball, getting him going downhill, understanding kind of, how he can get the defense off balance. I don't know. I think they would have a shot in that series if it gets to it, but we'll see.
No, I think so too. No, yeah. I think so too. There's just a lot of basketball between now and then. I agree the Knicks should be favored. I agree the Knicks definitely look like the best team in the East. They probably look like the second best team in the playoffs at this point. I agree with all of that. I'm simply saying it is a long playoffs.
And I'm also saying it's really hard to go back to back nowadays. Yeah. Like I even with I picked the Thunder to win the finals. Like I'm not a Thunder skeptic at all.
Who do you think is a better team? This Lakers team without Luka or the Atlanta Hawks?
This Lakers team without Luka or the Atlanta Hawks? Well, I mean, it's just so hard because to me, it's like a matchup thing. Because the Lakers, I really don't believe in this Lakers team. I guess I would give the slight edge to the Lakers, to be honest. Because the only reason I say that is because, like, look, I know LeBron is not LeBron anymore, but like just having that guy on the court combined with the at least the guys that have been there before, like Smart, and say what you will, DeAndre Ayton's played pretty well. And then you combined in like Reeves coming back now too is the other thing. Yeah. Like Reeves looked like shit in his first game, and then he kind of figured himself out in the second game. Like, yeah. I would say for the playoffs, I would probably say them. Mm-hmm. But the Hawks are an interesting, it's very funny because I actually think that the Hawks just don't have one guy. Like CJ did that for a few games, then they switched hard onto him and he was dead, and then the series was over. But the like CJ McCollum games aside, the Hawks really don't have anyone they can run their half-court offense through. Like Jalen Johnson was completely exposed. Nickeil Alexander-Walker was completely exposed. Credit to the Knicks because they did a great job at exposing that. But I think that they would have struggled in most matchups in these playoffs in a half-court setting is all. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think any of those teams are particularly good though. Like I definitely don't believe in any of them. It's just, look, the playoffs are weird. Before we move on to our season obituaries and the Masai hire, do you have any thoughts on the Pistons-Cavs series? The two teams we thought were not going to be here after those games because the Cavs looked shit and the Pistons looked dead after game 4. Franz got hurt. Cade went berserk. Tobias Harris has a game 7 where he goes and saves. I said losers are winners, dude. Losers are winners now. Cat, Tobias, Embiid, Harden, they're all winners now.
They're all back. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, the Raptors thing just felt like the Raptors running out of ammo. That was just kind of more of a miracle of
that felt insane. I mean, there were 3 games in that series they could have lost, and they won.
That honestly might be the most shocking development. I mean, I know the Sixers beat the Celtics, and but like the Sixers are a better team than like the Sevens. Like, I don't know. Once Embiid came back, it was kind of a different ball game. Like the fact that the Raptors just like lost Brandon Ingram and it had the same effect that getting Embiid back did the Sixers is very funny. I think Scotty Barnes and CMB were very much acquitted. I think they did that with $70 million on their bench, which is either good or bad, depending on how you look at that. Like, it's so frustrating because, like, I think we all were like, we were all like, yeah, CMB, good player. That's going to be a helpful playoff player. That's a good player for like what they're trying to put together. It's like, I wish the rest of the roster wasn't just such like expensive and kind of dog ass. Like, it's funny that RJ Barrett is probably the best like high cost player on their roster.
Scotty. Yeah,
Well,
Scotty's on a
besides
Mavs now.
Scotty, besides Scotty. Like I don't know. Like I don't know what they do this offseason. I saw some Raptors fans saying like, I don't want to like use assets to dump Hurdle. I agree. You just got to kind of fucking eat that one. Maybe you see if there's any trade value for Brandon Ingram, but why the fuck did you do that? Like it just, and then like quickly played like well and like maybe quickly helps, but like, I don't know, Shed had a pretty good series too. Like, I don't know, like Donovan Mitchell was kind of in hell.
I kind of think that if Quickly played in that series, they might have won, to be honest.
Maybe. No, it's totally like an interpretation, but the fact was you were still good without Quickly, like I thought it was like over without Quickly. So
I mean, they also had 2 insane Cavs collapses in this series. That
maybe that's the other side of it.
Should be a lot. Start, and once again, the start of Game 7 in this series, I watched that first half and I was like, up until about 5 minutes left in the second quarter, I was like, this is Sixers Hawks 2021. Like the Raptors are just in their heads right now. Like the Cavs, for whatever reason, don't have an answer to the length and athleticism of this Raptors team. They keep turning the ball over. They're making bad decisions on offense. They cannot hold up at all on the perimeter. Like they can't keep them out of the paint. And I was just like, and Jacoby Walter's hitting all these shots, and I was just like, this is over. I was like, they're going to lose this game and lose this series. Then Max Strus comes in, and him and Jalen Tyson get them back into the game. They tied, I think, at halftime, and then the second half of that Game 7 was just a complete. They out-talented them by the end of that. And Scotty got into foul trouble, and they just had no chance once that happened. So, I mean, I think that the Cavs Pistons is like the disappointment off in the second round, but they're still alive.
I think if Jalen Duren like has a chance to prove to himself that was just a bad matchup, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I'm watching. Like, are you a playoff fraud or was that just a bad matchup?
Right. Is the physicality of the Magic and all the issues of the lack of spacing fucking up that pick and roll with you and Cade? Like, are all of those things done, or is it? Because to me, you could tell me this series goes a number of different ways. I think, but just up top, Cade is clearly the best player in this series. Mitchell has not been. This version of Mitchell has just not been good. Like he was great the first 2 games. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if he's just having another weird playoff stinker, but he happened to look like, honestly, their worst starter for the last 2 or 3 games of that series. I don't know what was going on with him, but now he has the Asar Thompson matchup on defense.
It's good.
Which is not like everyone's like, well, the Raptors have so much length and physicality. I'm like, yeah, as opposed to the Pistons who don't have that
physicality. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oops.
Just beef stew coming off the bench.
Well, that's the thing, is that how are the Pistons, and the Cavs and the Pistons both kind of have this weird, their rosters don't really make sense for the playoffs, and they're kind of just winning on their top end talent, and it's kind of all thrown together. And the Pistons have the spacing issue, but also like once Franz was out of that series, and like they don't have perimeter defenders like Franz on this team, or even like Jalen Suggs, who was blowing up every action earlier in the Cavs Pistons. I'm sorry, the Magic Pistons series. They don't have that level of guy. Like they do have Mobley and Allen on the back line, which should help. But I've thought about this because I picked the Pistons to win this series before the playoffs. And I did like how the Cavs played them in the regular season. And I also have a bet with SH in the Discord that we get to choose each other's profile pictures. I made this bet like a month and a half ago, and I picked the Cavs over the Pistons at the time. Then I changed my mind, and I picked the Pistons over the Cavs. I've gone back and forth on this. I'm going to I still think the Pistons win this one. And I know it sounds insane because of everything we saw that they kind of
I'm taking the Pistons too.
I was going to say they are we going to be losing with the football with the fucking Pistons again after that?
Here's my thing. Like, I'll say this. A little alarming that Orlando had the worst offense, maybe the worst playoff offense I've ever seen once Franz left the series.
It has to be the worst offense in the history of the playoffs relative to league average.
Yeah. Like it was truly like, and you're not getting that. Like like, even with his struggles, Donovan Mitchell and James Harden are on the other side of the ball, you know? At the same time, who was it who came up big for the Cavs in Game 7? Mr. Bright Lights himself, Jared Allen.
That's right.
Like, so I just like Detroit hasn't proven to me that they're losers yet in the way that the Cavs have proven to me that they're losers. I'm just saying, like,
they were a massive comeback away from getting eliminated by the 8 seed in 6 games, though,
and they didn't. I've seen the Cavs go out sadder multiple times to teams worse.
Yeah,
than that.
You'd rather lose as an underdog in 6 to a Knicks team last year than lose multiple series as the favorites like the Cavs have.
Yeah, like genuinely, like, you know, they do have Harden, but like there's some weird stuff with the Cavs. I've never been scared of like watching the Cavs versus like, even if it's rare, when Cade goes nuclear, I'm like, oh fuck, this is like still in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I've never felt that way with the Cavs. Like they just have Detroit just has like an extra gear there. And they had enough guys like play like shit that I've been like, I don't know, man. Like when they have dogs, dude, as much as I hate to give it to him, Duncan Robinson's kind of a dog and he's kind of like built for the play. I'm not doing a bit. Like he was like in that Magic series, he was the one, he was like talking shit. Cade is like not worried about it. Jalen Duren is the one I'm concerned about. He seemed to kind of like shrink from the moment and suck ass.
But the Cavs are not a physical team.
No, and
they almost don't even have the ability to be physical, I feel like.
If the Cavs were in the situation Detroit was in, they lose in 5. Like, yeah, without question. Like that just happens, you know? Like
they did beat the Magic. It was a different Magic team, but they did beat the Magic in the playoffs 2 years ago. Different teams.
A different team. And like also like,
but the Raptors series kind of played out that same exact way. Like they were the Magic hung with them all throughout that, and then they pulled away in the second half of. It's very funny that
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I don't think
there's anything the Cavs could do that makes me believe in them except for winning this series.
I want to see Detroit actually disappoint and be a loser before I anoint them losers. That's all I'm going to say. They played way above their heads last playoffs before they got eliminated. They haven't been eliminated yet. They played underwhelming in the first series. Let's talk to me once they get eliminated, and we'll check in on the loser index. But until then, they do not have a loser index. The Cavs do have a loser index.
Question for you. I just had this thought. Assuming that Mobley's a big and Cade is a guard, because that's what they are.
Right.
Who is the best two-way wing or forward in this series? I think it's Tobias, I think. Because like Asar, okay, you might be like,
I think Asar, even with it, I think it's still Asar.
So the reason I was going to
some offense, like the rebounding and the like, you know, there is some offensive. I would, you know, I think Asar is better than Tobias.
Sure, I get it, and like if you're like, well, actually, if you look at the offensive rating when Asar's on the court is actually better than I'm sorry, we saw early in the series. It's not Asar's fault necessarily, but we know that if a guy can't shoot and they help off of them and they just crowd the paint, it's the same thing every year in the playoffs. And if Franz didn't get hurt, it's possible we're talking about the Magic in this series because of that. But I thought about it and I was like, I almost don't even think that it's Asar or Tobias, and Asar cannot shoot at all. And Tobias is usually you want him to be your weak link defender. On the other end. So that's the level of forward and wing play that we have in this series. I mean, Cade, we'll see with Cade in this series whether he can continue what he did at the end of last series. I'm going to estimate that he puts them in hell for this series. I've been trying to think like the matchups. I don't even remember. The Cavs are such a fucking frustrating team, dude. Yeah. Who are they starting at their fifth? I think it's Dean Wade is their fifth starter right now.
going with Dean Wade right now.
Dean Wade apparently is like a good Cade defender. I was like, okay, well, I also said the playoffs are a different beast because I said the same thing when everyone was like, and I even preface it like I was like, I'll show you the VJ Edgecombe versus Brunson stats, but keep in mind Jalen Brunson is a motherfucker in the playoffs, and it's a different animal. And when you have a whole series to study tendencies and stuff, usually the offensive player wins the matchup.
I think the Cavs could absolutely like win this series. I just think Detroit. This is like purely a vibes pick. Like I just think Detroit is made of sterner stuff, and I think all of the Cavs guys have a history of, let's just say, wilting in big moments. So,
I think it's fair.
Yeah. Versus one guy on the Pistons in Tobias, who's known for that. And then the last time he was out there, he didn't. So
the one factor that I think plays into the Cavs' hands is if you can just put Mobley on one of these non-shooters and have him roam in the paint, that's when he's at his best. He's just like hanging off of guys and just being like, what if I just shut off the paint so Detroit can't score inside? And then it becomes what it became in the first 3 games of that series, where he is just everyone on the Pistons needs to make their shots, and they did not until the series swung.
Duncan Robinson pushing in. Mobley bothered the shot. Thompson with the putback. The putback from Thompson.
You're doing fan fiction.
It's gonna happen a billion times in this. They're just gonna get it up on the glass and out physical them. Like they're kind of not as good of a rebounding team as they need Jared Allen to be great.
That's always the problem, is that they're the only team in the NBA that plays double bigs and is still not good at rebounding.
Yeah.
But last year in the Pacers series, they actually out-rebounded the Pacers a ton, but the Pacers just got better shots, and they won the series because the Pacers were on a insane devil magic run.
I was gonna say the Pacers are something different though. The Pacers shot quality. What, like Aaron Nesmith is not walking through that door.
Yeah. This is very funny because I just wanted to run back to the Sixers Knicks series.
Yep.
The advantage the Sixers had 2 years ago was their shot quality was way better than the Knicks. Like they would just get good shots, and the Knicks would get 100 second chance opportunities and eventually just win on the strength of the Sixers not being able to rebound. They didn't even need that last night. And that's where I'm like, oh, fuck, we also have the rebounding advantage coming at some point in their favor too. So that's where things could get out of hand for the Sixers in that matchup. So let's do some season obituaries before we talk about the Masai thing. The Magic blow a 3-1 lead. Tough way to go out. They fired Jamal Mosley. I mean,
going out 3-1 is actually not that bad.
Actually, adds character.
We actually adds character. We should show a little kindness to teams that go out like that. It's actually one of our best leads to blow is 3-1. Think of the other teams that blew 3-1 leads. The
Warriors,
the 2016 Warriors, one of the best teams of all time. Most regular season wins ever.
I'm sure it won't work out for the Celtics. The Magic might be a little bit different, but someone did send in, I don't know if you saw this, but I was talking about how we know nothing and how I particularly feel like I know nothing in these playoffs. And someone posted the quote from me in the Discord when we were talking on the last, I think it was the last main feed episode. I guess it was the last main feed episode. But in the transcript, I was basically saying, I know, here's the exact words. All right, ready?
Okay.
I'll be on here next week, and the Sixers and the Pistons will have come back in their series, and their coward GMs will have won despite them not making any moves at the deadline. Like I said, they should have. And yeah, I'll be like, I don't know anything.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Exactly. So here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
Like nothing matters. Nothing is predictable. Nothing matters.
Part of the reason the NBA playoffs are so good is because of this.
Yes. And this is different than before, I would say. Like, this is a newer thing. Yeah. And also on top of that, I will say that I still think those teams should have made more moves because it would have made their ceiling higher.
Yes.
Because I still feel like they're flawed teams that will run into a matchup that they can't deal with because they weren't more aggressive at the deadline. They just happened to survive their first round series.
Could the Could the Sixers have used a better 4 last night? It's impossible to say whether.
No one. I'm watching it like, oh fuck, right? We don't have a power forward on the team.
Yeah, shit,
like, shit. Like all of our guys that are like, once again, we kind of just have guards that are playing it. Like, even Paul George is like, he has like forward skills, but he's like a big wing guard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a massive shooting guard.
Yeah. And then I was like, and then Dom Barlow.
Kelly Oubre, a massive shooting guard.
Yeah. And then I was like, and then there's Dom Barlow who comes off the bench that might need to play in this series. And he's just kind of like a center who is not really a center. Like, it's just, there's like the Jabari Walker is probably the closest thing we have to a real 4. And the coaching staff has correctly identified that he is not athletic enough or skilled enough to play in the playoffs. So the Magic season's over. What a roll. I said this on Twitter. Is this the most roller coaster 3 weeks we've ever seen from a fan base with the Magic?
I do think if I were a Magic fan, I would believe that Satan is real, and that he had done something personally to me. Because I think if they just go out sad against the Pistons, it's like, okay, fine, this chuck it in the bin. This season sucked. Like, it is what it is. But just for them to like show life, Franz to get hurt, for Suggs to go so fucking cold, like just unbelievable. Like
shot like 17% in the last like 4 games or something.
And then also like the cherry on top is like Paolo played just well enough now where it's like, okay, time to pay it. You know, like I guess we can't trade him. Yeah. Yep, I guess we can't trade him. Like, so it's like it's the exact right set of, you don't even want a playoff series. It's the exact right set of circumstances that would make me fucking insane if I were a Magic fan. I think I feel very badly for them. I think that because I still wouldn't know what to think of it. Like, I don't know, like, should I just give up on this team? Should I have no hope? Because that doesn't feel right either. There's something here, but I don't know. Will we ever see it? Will Franz ever be healthy? Like, how do we draw that out? I think what's frustrating about the season is how little information you got. You got that, like, Anthony Black has some upside, but got, like, I don't want to say exposed in the playoffs, but had some rough stretches in the playoffs, had some great stretches too. I'm not sure if he
was healthy. I'm not sure if he was, because he did get hurt, and they said after he came back from the injury, he had like a 40-something true shooting. Like, I actually, I used to be a big Anthony Black skeptic. He would probably be my biggest cause for, he just once again struggled in the playoffs. He feels like a playoff player to me.
Yeah, I think when he's and we saw it early.
Yeah,
before he got so I agree with you on that. Like, and I think Bane. The good news is that Bane also is a killer. Like,
Bane is not afraid of, even though Bane has his ups and downs as well, and he was
the only guy who gave a shit in some of those bad losses.
I mean, they were almost won Game 6 because he went fucking insane in the first half. And then the whole thing. I think the Sixers and the Magic this year had the widest range of outcomes happen for any teams, where it's like they would have, how many games did the Magic blow a 20? At halftime of that game, they were up 23 or something, 24. And I said in our group chat, I said, if any team but the Pistons was on the other end, I would say the Magic could blow this lead. And Mateo, who's a Magic fan, said, we can blow this lead. Don't, like, I've watched this team all season. This is a very blowable lead for us. And I was like, all right, I trust you. And then they blew the lead. And it was, you could see it coming from a mile away, but it was just a train crash. The most shocking thing about that game still to me is that they didn't lose that game. Like, they didn't lose it by 2 points at the end. They lost that game by like 13 points.
Yeah.
They were up 20 something. It is still one of the most shocking things I can remember in recent playoff memory. They had the same thing happen at the end of the playing game against the Sixers, where their offense just could do nothing. They had the same thing happen against the Raptors like a month before the season ended, where the Raptors went on like a 31-0 run. They had just so many stretches where their offense got stuck in mud and they could not score no matter what they did, that it does feel like after that game was over, everyone knew the series was over, because it was just like, you don't suffer a loss this tragic and then win the series. Like, it just doesn't happen. I thought about it, and I think the only time that other than that, I think it was literally the Heat Celtics in 2023 when the Celtics came back to win in Miami on the Derek White putback that sent it to Game 7 back in Boston. And then Jason Tatum sprains his ankle in the last game, and the Heat just win that game straight up, and they go to the NBA Finals. That was the last time I could remember a team losing a Game 6 as heartbreaking as the Magic lost that Game 6 and then win a Game 7. So I just knew the series was over. Even when it was like close in the first half, I was like, the Pistons are winning this game. Like the Magic are just, they're dead. Like they had nothing. And now you go into this offseason with, you're looking for a new coach. There are a few retread options they could do. Billy Donovan is someone that's going to be near the top of their list. He's had connections to them in the past. He obviously famously coached it. Florida almost left there to go to the Magic, ended up going back to Florida, and then left for the Thunder job a few years later. He did have the Magic, or he did have the Bulls with the best shot quality in the NBA in the regular season, which if you're trying to fix something with this Magic team, it is that. It is certainly that. And then you also have, you could do like whatever, we just want to win now. Like our jobs are on the line in terms of the front office. We need to maximize this Paulo, Franz, whatever core we have. Let's bring in Tibbs. Like we could go down that route. Although Tibbs apparently has interest in going back to the Bulls as a coach, which is hilarious.
That would be so funny.
It would be great to have that reunited.
Tibbs with a dog shit team, like getting them to like 34 wins, like just playing fucking what's his name, Leonard Miller, like
that's the Reinsdorf dream.
Yeah, like
that's like their dream outcome. So that might end up happening. But
yeah, I think, I don't know. I is there any answer to this besides just have Franz be healthy?
I would feel optimistic about that if I were a Magic fan. I would be like, we almost took down the 1 seed with Franz. We were up 3-1, then he got hurt, and then we lost. And that is the one thing that I could come out of this feeling good about. But the other thing is that they haven't won a playoff series since Dwight Howard was there.
I get it. How about this? Don't schedule a Berlin game next year. How about that?
Don't let Franz go play international basketball, dude. Yeah. Like tell him to take a break. Like just for a little bit, you can't play for Team Germany. And then when you get healthy and we're not Yao Minging your body.
It's like, Franz wants to go back to his home country. He wants to be surrounded by the German culture. Send him to Argentina, man. Just let him chill out there. Let him relax there.
Hide away.
There's lots of blonde-eyed, blonde-haired, blue-eyed people down there. There's lots.
Don't ask why.
Don't ask why.
Tristan da Silva can show him around.
There we go. Yeah.
Remember when you found out that Tristan da Silva was German and Brazilian? You were like, what?
Well, okay. Like,
no, but he did the reverse. He's from Brazil, but I think his family's from Brazil, but I think he grew up in Germany. So here's what they have to look forward to. Okay. They have a lot of fucking money on the books next year. Do you know how much money they have on the books?
I didn't know they were that expensive. I guess it makes sense because they've got Paolo, Bane, Franz. Anthony Black is now making normal.
No, Anthony Black about Suggs. Anthony Black is still on his rookie contract.
Oh, that's bad. I forgot about Suggs.
I think
Suggs like $30 million a year, is right?
Suggs makes $32 million next year, and then it goes down 29, 26, 26. So, $222 million on the books next year for the Magic. And that's with Mo Wagner being a free agent. Now, I think that they have a team option on Jet Howard, which I think they declined already. If I remember correctly, I think they declined that option just to save $7 million. That's brutal. And then the rest of their team is they also have a non-guarantee on Jonathan Isaac, if I remember correctly. So his is basically fake $14 million. They could waive him. So they can cut down some money that they have on the books here.
Suggs makes the most sense. You've got Jace Richardson left over. Anthony Black seems to be ready to step into a bigger role. Like,
I would imagine they probably want a full year before they pay Black to see what he has as a starter. Mm-hmm. So I would imagine with that contract extension coming up, they gauge the market for Suggs to see, is there someone out there? Maybe we can split it up into 2 contracts. Maybe we can get someone that makes a little bit more sense with this team if we're starting Anthony Black. But then again, you are running into the issue of, are you just going to have that guy come off the bench? Are you going to upgrade at center over Wendell Carter Jr., who was actually pretty good for you in the playoffs when you were up? Like, I don't know. To me, it's not an easy problem to solve if you're keeping all of Franz, Paolo, and Bane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, like, how many players out there you could trade for Suggs, keep your team really good, and be like, hey, you're coming off the bench because we want to start Anthony Black.
It's funny that, like, Paolo and Franz is, like, the poor man's version of the Tatum Brown situation.
Yeah, if they couldn't get out of the first round.
Yeah, like it's like a very similar thing where it's like, okay, well, surely they trade Paolo because he's a loser who doesn't actually help you win and just gets empty stats and all the other
advanced metrics for this other guy, and they destroy teams when he doesn't play, and yeah.
So I don't know, like, what that I don't know what that would look like. It seems like there's going to be a lot of big ticket guys like available though in that way. We were just talking about Fox. I mean, this could be a Fox landing spot. Like, I don't know who's going back. I don't think they have enough sweeteners for like Suggs and picks, but Paolo might be interesting
Fox,
to them.
I'll be honest. I think they don't want Fox's contract.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, problem with trading a big contract though is you have to also take back a big contract.
For sure. No, I get it. I understand that, but Suggs' contract actually isn't as big as you think. He makes
32 is not that bad.
And then it's
like a Derek White size contract.
It's descending to 26 the last 2 years.
Right, but it's still gonna count as 32, even if
for next year. Yeah. But like, if you're making long-term decisions, I think you're fine being like, all right, look, we'll overpay Jalen Suggs for maybe 1 year, and then we can get him on a cheap. And also, that might be more appealing to other teams too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, other teams might be like, all right, look, he gets paid a lot right now, but 2 years from now, he's making $26 million when the cap is astronomical compared to that. So that might actually be, because I remember when they signed that contract, everyone trashed it, and I was like, yeah, but it's declining. Like, it will be a deal you can move if it doesn't work out. So the question is that they have I think everything's on the table for this team.
Yes,
like,
for sure.
I don't think that they can really be. Now, if I were running the team, I would be like, what's your best offer for Paolo Banchero? I know that he's had big playoff games. I know that they got unlucky in this scenario, but I still kind of feel the same way that I felt before the playoffs, that if you're running your offense through this guy, and even though I think if you look at some of the numbers, like their offense throughout the years with him versus the other guys on the court in the playoffs specifically, at least coming into this year, was better when it was just him and he was able to make, tough shots. But then again, like, their offense, the second that Franz went out, just completely collapsed into itself. And Franz also helped keep the defense extremely good and really figured out the Pistons offense in that series until he went down. And I just think that if Paolo has a real market, you have to explore trading him and seeing what you can do with the rest of these guys. Because even if he goes somewhere else and like resurrects his career, like, you can be like, it probably wasn't going to happen here. But then again, they're clearly committed to Paolo because they fired Mosley like that. And Mosley and him did not get along. That was well reported. And so they're siding with Paolo. It's not to say that I don't think that they would, if there was a deal out there, they wouldn't consider it. What I'm saying is that I think that unless they view it as like, we're getting a massive upgrade, like, oh, we did Paolo, Suggs and picks for Giannis, which I think the Bucks can probably do better than that at this point.
Yeah.
Then they don't even really have that many picks left.
They don't have picks.
Yeah. I don't view the Magic as a team. Now, the interesting thing to me would be, what if the Bucks called them back and they were like, we don't want Paolo, but we do want Franz? Because I mean, I think the Paolo Giannis fit is just gross, especially if you're keeping Jalen Suggs in that scenario. Like,
I don't know if I would
Franz
do that.
and Giannis are clean together, but
I would try to do something. I think for this team, if I'm still figuring something out, I would probably try to figure out more of like a veteran stopgap for a year than trying to like commit whole cloth.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could be a Kyrie Irving team.
That's interesting.
Like if there's like some of that, depending on what Masai wants back, like
Well,
on the
this
other
is
side.
actually, I'm glad you brought this up
Yeah.
because I sent this the day before Masai got hired by the Raptors.
Yeah.
And I said, with Cooper Flag coming in and the Mavs being negative picks, they should just start trying to take on bad contracts just to get picks in the door.
Yeah.
Jakob Poeltl quickly and 2 first-round picks for Kyrie was my idea.
Oh, that's great.
I was just like, you take on the 2 picks. It's basically quickly for Kyrie, and you're taking on the bad contract for 2 firsts. Kyrie obviously would have to look like the Raptors would have to have inside knowledge on his medicals, and he would also have to play for want to go to Toronto. Like,
is there still a vaccine mandate? Is that still a thing?
We said they got rid of that, so that's a big part of this. We did the research on that. Although we do have a new virus about to drop. It's possible.
Yeah, that's true.
He just can't leave Canada.
Honestly, like there's such like a I know Indigenous rights is like a much bigger. I mean, it's more in the news in Canada, I guess would be a better way to put that.
Yeah.
I think Kyrie would kind of be actually kind of open to that. Like, as like like
I think Kyrie's a lot more like malleable to situations than people give him credit for. He just had a few weird things that happened.
Yeah.
I think that if I were Kyrie and they're like, you could go play with Scotty Barnes and Colin Murray Boyles and all of these like really like all you have to do is
our offense is dog shit. Like we just need you to fucking cook. Like exactly. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Like, and sorry, what is like Quickly is not like going to do anything, and I think Quickly would
be a good fit with Flag.
I think he would help Cooper Flag. You know what I'm saying? He's not a great player, but you're not going to be ready to do anything for a couple years anyway.
Kyrie's also not as old as you think. He's only, I know this sounds insane because he's coming off a torn ACL and he's a small guard. He's only 34. Like he feels like he's like 38.
Yeah.
But like you could assuming that he looks fine post knee injury, which with his health history, I'm going to assume that he does.
Yeah.
And the ACL is like an ankle sprain nowadays.
He's not really, I mean, like the burst is helpful. He's like an incredible craft guy. Like I think Kyrie's going to age pretty well, or about as well as guards do, I guess I would say. Like
the only other thing that you could say is that they're like, because everyone just keeps saying Ja Morant for them. Like, what if they just go Jakob Poeltl and picks and like they tried to trade for, but I'm like,
I hate that.
Ja can't shoot and Ja needs to have the ball. And like, if I'm running the Raptors, I'm like, can we ride this Scotty Barnes on ball thing as much as we possibly can and have guys who orbit around him? Because that's what Kyrie would do. Like Kyrie has done this with so many stars.
He's been a great off-ball guy.
Luka, LeBron, KD, Harden. Like,
he's malleable to the thing. I think that's a great idea. Did you think of that?
I thought about that the day before. Masai, who traded for Quickly and Poeltl on the Raptors, was hired by the Mavericks. I had no idea that was going to happen.
Going back for 138.
One more Jakob Poeltl.
20. What year was that? 2023. Still eating trading for more Jakob Poeltl in front of the fridge with the door open.
Yeah, you're
2026 going back for more Jakob Poeltl.
Yeah, exactly. And if I were the Raptors, I would try to be like, can we trade these picks like 2-year out picks?
Yeah.
Like, can I trade these picks that are like 2 to 4 years from now so that I can maybe try to get good in this time period so that we're not kind of eating shit on these picks? And then because the pick this year, I would want to take another swing on a guard. Like I would want to draft LeBaron Philon to be like Kyrie's understudy or something like that. Yeah.
Sure.
That would be my idea. Because they do have the one thing about the Raptors who also are, we're talking about here who were just eliminated. Like the Raptors do have the 19th pick in the draft, and it's a great draft if you need guards. So they've benefited in that regard.
Well, and my arithmetic, I would be open to that if I were the Mavericks, because the other arithmetic you could make is like the Raptors were a 5 seed. They could have like very easily been like a 9 seed. We're a year away. The East is going to be kind of a demon, like very soon. Like I keep making the joke about the West being the JV squad, which is obviously it's tongue in cheek. Like there's obviously good teams.
No, not
but,
you.
like, yeah, not me. I'm gonna mean it next year. I'm 100% gonna mean it. It's gonna be a demonic, like, God, if the Pacers get that pick, dude,
the Pacers with the pick. I genuinely do think that, because every time that they almost lose to the Sixers, or now in this time lose to the Sixers, I think the Celtics are going to go.
No, we're going to do something. We're going to come back better. Yeah,
we're going to do something. Are going to do something a little crazy, and I think that the Hornets are going to have picks they can push in. Like there are teams that can get and like.
The Pistons will have figured out that they can't be cute anymore, and maybe they're doing something. The Knicks might be coming off a title. It might be the defending champs. I would be okay with that, because even if the Raptors improve and with the odds flattened the way they are, there's a chance we can get like a legitimate 13% or whatever it is, 8% chance. Just if the Raptors just lose a play-in game, they're going to be in the play-in range. I'm not saying the Raptors are going to miss the playoffs. I think the Raptors are still, especially if they get Kyrie, they're going to be a good team. But just the East is just going to to be like a coin toss. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who's going to be good next year.
I literally the Celtics had this the two teams. The two teams I just think have a chance to really have the bottom fall out after this season. You always have the chance with the Sixers with the availability stuff, and also we've seen them be like, we can pull the plug and take our draft lottery odds again. And then the other team I would imagine that has a chance to have, obviously the Raptors are kind of in this just because they have so many bad contracts. Although it does seem like I'm definitely higher on their outcomes than I was before the season.
Darko's showed me something too.
Darko's a good coach. CMB was amazing as a rookie.
Yeah.
Scotty Barnes, and they have enough guys that I think they can compete in the regular season. The other team that I was going to say out of all these teams that really has a chance to collapse in on itself is the Cavs. Because
they're the other obvious one.
They got older. They have a chance to blow it up here after the season if things don't go their way. But by the way, we didn't even talk about the Hawks, who are going to get a top 10 pick in this draft.
Yeah,
It's just a crazy conference. And if you are the Mavericks, who just hired Masai, which I mean, I like them. I know we did the whole slop trial, and we talked about Masai being the most washed GM of the 2020s after being maybe the best GM in the league for 8 straight years when he first took the job over.
Yeah.
And we both said at the end of that, I would give him another shot because he built a title contender from scratch, mostly through the draft. And this is going to have to be him getting back to who he is as a GM, scouting, drafting,
Bugs Bunny with the gun.
Yeah. Time to go back to the old days. Yeah, exactly. Tunde Yesifo, is that how you say his name on Baylor? 100% a Maverick. It's in Texas. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Long athletic wing who's from Africa, or at least his family is. He might be going back to his old ways, Masai. But I do think that it was smart of them to just break out the fucking, spend a ton of money, evil franchise, evil organization. But they absolutely are doing the right thing by Cooper Flagg, at least. And I wondered with the Masai hire, if they are leaning in a direction of, we're going to do this naturally through the draft. We're going to kind of continue what we decided to do when we traded away Anthony Davis. We're going to try to trade Kyrie. We're going to see what the market is for PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, which, by the way, those contracts, easier said than done to move.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this was just a thought I had in the middle of it, and I don't know if this is realistic, but if the Spurs are really desperate for a forward and they can't get off the Fox contract, and the Mavs trade Kyrie, Fox on that team just across state with PJ Washington and Najee Marshall going back or something. I don't hate it. I think it would speed up the timeline a little bit too much, to be honest with you. I don't think they're in a position where they need to do that, because they can probably just draft a guard, the Mavericks, in this draft, and they might. I would wait on doing anything like that until I know if I have a Dylan Harper in the hand. Maybe they can get Darren Peterson, or
just doing the Spurs mistake.
Exactly. Again. I would definitely not do it before the draft. I'm just saying, it's an option. It's an option if that's the decision that they decide that's the direction they want to go in. But
I could see them doing it if the Mavs jump up. I could see them definitely doing something like that.
Yeah, like they get Darren Peterson or something, and then they're like,
or Boozer, or even
then
you get a guard with those guys, and you have a front court of. I think who would you take? Let's say the Mavs do it again. Who would you take?
The Mavs jump up to 1?
Yes, yeah, they do it again. They're like,
it's hard for me to say because I have Peterson 4, but if he's good and you think he's that guy, that's the guy you want to pair with Flag. Like you want someone who's a high volume 3-point shooter that can create their own shot, that you don't need to have the ball. You want to get his Maxey, his Jamal Murray, his, you know what I mean? Like you want to get him that secondary guy. And also I think Peterson's a better defender than both of those guys.
For sure.
So that's what I would probably do. If I were them, I would also be like, is anyone in love with AJ Debinsa and wants to give us an extra pick to move back to 3 or 4? And then we can just have Boozer maybe go 2. And I personally might just ride with the talent and go Boozer and Flag, but it's a little bit clunky. And I do think that if you're that high on Peterson, you should pair those two together.
I'm channeling Mateo.
Okay.
Do you draft? Did you draft Boozer to be Choker Thugs bronze?
All the analytics guys love him, and they're like, he's doing him wrong. How dare you, Cooper Flag? You're rude. Now, analytics guys, well, I guess a few of them have started to turn on Cooper Flag, but I'm like, do we have to do this whole thing again where it's like the guy's analytics suck as a rookie? Like that does not matter at all. It's very rare that it matters. Like Andrew Wiggins might be a case where it did matter, but like it's very obvious that Cooper Flag has a very high ceiling. It will be one of the best players in the NBA at some point. But so from the Mavericks perspective, like I'm interested to see what Masai thinks, because Masai, like if I were Masai, like the only guys on this roster that I would view as, I wouldn't even say like Flag's the only untouchable truly, but I would say the only other guy I wouldn't consider trading is Derek Lively.
Yeah,
because
that's what I was going to say, because his value is just so low right now.
His value is so low, and if he can get healthy, is such a great guy to pair with Flag, like as a pick and roll partner, as someone who's just going to make a demonic front court in terms of defense. And I think that you want to see if you can kind of see things through. Also, Lively is such a Masai guy. Like super long arms, crazy jump out the gym athlete. Like I do really think that Lively is the guy with those two that if I were running the Mavericks, I would keep alongside him. I would be like
Masai wants, by the way,
in the draft.
Let's say they stay where they are. Like
were they at 8?
I think they're at 8. I'll double check that on Tankathon.
Here,
they're 8.
There's not wings, so it's going to be a guard.
That's what I'm saying. That's very.
There's not wings really, and I don't think that he's gonna he'll probably like Swain. I don't know if he'll like Swain enough to take Swain with the 8th pick in the draft. But then again, Masai kind of just does what he wants.
He does do what he wants.
He drafted Scotty Barnes, and everyone was like, "This is insane," and it was the right pick. Like,
is he? Do you think he'll be an Ahmed guy? Do you think he's gonna believe in Nate Ahmed?
He's the only other winger forward in that range, right? Like,
or Yaxel, but that's not a very.
Nah, he doesn't draft guys.
Yaxel's not a Masai guy. Yeah.
I guess Siakam was a little bit old, and so was Fred VanVleet, but he was undrafted, and that was a late first round pick. I think he'll be swinging for one of these younger guys for sure. Okay, so just off the top of my head, if they stay in this range, assuming that I could definitely see him being interested in. Wow, this is a good question.
I have an answer, but I want to hear yours first. That I think.
I don't know if I have an answer. Who do you think?
I think it's Wagler. If he,
Yeah, I could say a little funky,
Yeah.
I think Wagler will have a big wingspan, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. If he ends up at 8, I could definitely see. I was trying to think because like none of these guys are really like off the beaten path. He tends to take off the beaten path guys.
Yeah, he will take some fucking guy that we have never heard of.
Yeah.
He will take
Kareem Lopez.
Zubi Ejiofor.
Oh, dude! First off, respect Demon Zubi.
Yeah,
that's my next Draymond, who is definitely gonna suck.
Yeah,
I like him, but he's definitely not good. Zubi Ejiofor is. I was hoping we could get a second round pick and take a swing on him, but yeah.
Get ready to be picked with the 8th overall pick in the draft, buddy.
I think the only way that he could really mess up this pick is if he drafts someone like Jaden Quaintiance, or just because of the injury problems, and when you already have Derek Lively, or he just gets so wing pilled again that he takes Koa Pete that high.
Yeah.
I think he's beyond it when he's building around a wing like this. I do think that he's going to be a little bit beyond just drafting a wing to draft a wing. He's going to understand that this is a guard draft. Yeah. I think, and he's going to be like, we have to value the guard position.
What I'm really excited for is we're about to find out if my theory is correct in that the sins of Toronto are Bobby Webster's sins, or if
it's definitely possible.
Like
all the bad contracts they have on the books are seemingly Bobby Webster handed out. Jakob Poeltl, which I think that was even after Masai was fired, so that's definitely not on Masai.
The Masai Innocence Project, we are standing tall here at the Masai Innocence
We're going to see Masai Ujiri, are you a man or are you a mouse?
Yeah.
Man. That's my clip that everyone is enjoying me going psycho mode in Game 7. My cousin said he rewatched the end of the stream and was like, I've been crying laughing for 3 minutes about how stressed you are in this video. Over a first round series.
Yeah.
I literally woke up the next morning when Skeets congratulated me, and I was like, what is it like to win the NBA Finals? I'm doing this over a first round series.
I had the opposite thing where I'm just like, damn, we just keep losing shit. And like our teams are pathetic now. Like this hasn't happened to me since I was 8 years old.
I was going to say, you guys have had this reign of dominance. To be fair, the Patriots lost in the Super Bowl with a second-year quarterback.
I know, but like
the Red Sox are a joke. But
the Red Sox are a joke, and we were like good this. You know what I'm saying? The Red Sox were good last year, and they just out of nowhere sucked ass. Because Breslow was saying, I would say the other thing about the Patriots thing too that I think everyone's kind of on board with is we kind of needed to win that Super Bowl. I think we're in a little bit of trouble with the number 1 schedule this year. There's a pretty strong chance we don't even make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, but you also have the thing that matters the most, which is a franchise quarterback. So
we've thought that, but things change so fast in football, man.
True.
Like,
that is football. Yeah. Football is just unlike any other sport in that, you think you have something and then it's just gone so fast.
He could be Matt Ryan next year, and I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, makes sense.
And windows just go so fast. Right. In basketball, it feels like they last a little bit longer. But that's just maybe that will change with everyone getting injured all the time now. Yeah. So we talked about the Raptors, we talked about the Magic. Me and Chiodo talked about the Nuggets. Do you have any thoughts on the Nuggets? Did you? Oh, this is what I wanted to say. I have a clip from Bill and Zach's podcast the other day where Bill was just so mad over the Celtics losing that he was like, I don't know what, and he's like, man, you're really like coping over this. Like you're upset. And he's like, yeah, if I were the Celtics or the Nuggets or any of these teams that lose in the first round, I would really consider doing anything this offseason. Everyone's on the table except for Jokic and Tatum, and da-da-da. He's going like crazy, like blah, 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 blah. And then he gets to the next episode and they're talking about the Nuggets and he goes, I don't think they should do anything.
God, Bill's awesome. What a dude. That's my demon, dude. That's my fucking demon.
He's like, you know what? It was a weird year. You have Jokic and Murray, and I was like, this is so good.
That's so funny.
He completely forgot that he said that in the first half because he was just upset.
So funny because he was mad.
Yeah.
It is funny. You do need to give yourself a week after your favorite team loses, and then the Celtics also lose. To kind of cope on that.
I was gonna say I don't know what it feels like to avoid NBA podcasts after a bad playoff loss, like Celtics fans do.
Oh yeah, I was locked out. I did not. I would have loved to tune in to see what Bill was doing, but I was hurting. I was not. I was not available for that.
Listening to NBA podcasts after your team can never get to the conference finals and they lose in the second or first round every year is literally like finding out your partner is cheating on you behind your back. You're just like, I can't eat. I'm
not doing this. I'm not doing this right now. I'll say, so I think what's very funny about this is I think that they're about to strike some sort of Faustian bargain. The problem is I don't know what the detail. They're gonna guess wrong. They have to make a choice.
Or the Nuggets.
The Nuggets.
The Nuggets, okay.
Because they have this Peyton Watson thing. They've got Cam Johnson, they've got Christian Brown. They've got to do something with one of those guys, right? Like, I think no matter what, they're going to make the wrong choice. like whatever they do is going to end up being the wrong choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they pay Peyton Watson, he will turn back into a pumpkin next year. If they believe in Cam Johnson, it will turn out that he's actually washed. If they trade Cam Johnson, he'll be amazing.
Yeah, like Cam Johnson for and picks for Derek White. Derek White's going to have to medically retire. After
yeah. So I don't know if there's a way for them to get around to that. I mean, let's see if Jokic doesn't retire in the offseason, first of all.
I don't think he's retiring.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
He's playing until he's at least 35.
Yeah. I think that they need to figure out something with the defense. I wonder, there's not really a way for them to do this. I was wondering if there was a way for them to like try to get like Hartenstein or like someone like that. Like, there's not.
I don't think they can play two bigs though. He makes it like Hartenstein is a double big lineup when you have Chet, but when you have Jokic as your center, like they need to draft like a Marej Johnson or something. You know what I mean? Like they don't have a draft pick, so that obviously hurts them. But I don't think they do. I don't think they have their pick. Let me look up the Nuggets real quick to make sure they don't have their pick. I think they traded the pick this year. So oh no, they do. They have the 26th pick in the draft. Okay. So the guys in their range that they should be targeting: Marej Johnson, Joshua Jefferson, Dalen Swain. I kind of like all of those guys for them, to be honest. I would be looking to get younger and athletic, is what I said. Like, I just think that like Jokic at this level of his career I still think that he can be that guy for you in a playoff run. Like, I don't think that just because he's had a few clunkers and because he had his worst series that he's basically ever had.
Can I tell you what I think they should do?
Yes.
This is the Tibbs team. Go nuclear.
The coach should just hire Tibbs and go for it.
I would. Fuck it. Like, what is their coach's even name? What's that weird little rat man's name? All due respect to him. David Adelman. All due respect to him, but like, I'm not fucking around with this for David Adelman, man. Like, I'm getting the big dog. I'm bringing Coach Tibbs in. I'm letting him like just go beast mode on this, because Tibbs is going to come in. He's going to play Aaron Gordon 47 minutes.
This is what I was worried. I was literally going to say, I was like, he might kill Jokic and Gordon next season.
I'm not worried about you. I think Jokic would be fine. Aaron Gordon would die on the court.
100%.
Ice, as his fucking hamstring is falling off the back of his leg.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, I can't. I made this joke about Patrick Williams, where I said, never has there been an $18 million a year contract that just destroyed a team like the Patrick Williams contract with the Bulls. Yeah. But the Christian Brown contract, I mean, I was like, I remember the time being like, yeah, he's a little bit overpaid, but like, maybe he's a Jokic merchant, although he was pretty good in the Russ Brown minutes last year, like without Jokic, like whatever. Maybe he'll get better and da-da-da. And then he immediately regressed and like wasn't even good with Jokic, looked like fucking Ben Simmons on offense at times in the playoffs, where he was just very hesitant to shoot, overpassing the ball, not looking to score at all when Jokic was creating advantages for him. That's the thing that I'm like, that's why I just feel like they should trade both Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray. I think they should trade both of them, because like you're not winning with a Jokic on a supermax and Christian Brown making $25 million a year. Like, you might as well try to break those guys up into a few different, more younger athletic guys that can maybe provide some value for you. Get Peyton Watson on a decent deal. And like, yeah, are you going to be worse? Yes. But like, also, like, I do think that you need to do like a reset year. The talent is just so
you
much.
You can get a lot for Aaron Gordon, even with him being kind of hurt and fucked up.
Jamal Murray's coming off the best year of his career.
Yeah. I just, the guard thing is a little bit
the guard market stuff
to find a little bit harder to find someone. Although Spurs could really use Jamal Murray.
No, they couldn't. They don't need a guard. That's
the De'Aaron Fox. I don't know. I think a Jamal Murray style guard versus like a De'Aaron Fox style.
If they want to build around Castle and Harper, I think they need to turn Fox into a wing somehow, like with picks or whatever.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, you're right about that.
Then again, no one wants to trade a wing for a guard. That's just kind of the problem that all of those teams have. I'd like them better as an Aaron Gordon team, to be honest, but that's another conversation.
I wonder, do you think that would they want any of Portland's stuff?
I had a thought of Jamal Murray for like Toumani Camara, and so it would be like Jamal Murray for Toumani Camara, Jeremy Grant's contract, and like Scoot or something. But I don't know if Portland would go that far just to get
Toumani Camara. Feels like a little bit of a deal breaker, which is fucked up because that's probably like what you want in that.
If you're Denver, that's the kind of player that you're trying to get back. Like, that is just like an athletic wing that Jokic can make look better. And you're still searching for that second guy, which is why you take on like Scoot in that trade or whatever, and like hope that you can turn him into something. But
I just remembered a thought I had, and I remembered it on the podcast, and now I'm obligated to say it, but I really fucking hate it. It doesn't have anything to do with the Nuggets. I realize you guys are going to be the Rob Williams team.
So people have brought this up to me, and I'm like, he played 26 games this year. We can't do it again. Like, we have to have guys who are available.
You want to bet? Daryl Morey, dude, he's a stocks. He's going to be a Sixer. I'm telling you right now.
Morey absolutely likes Rob Williams. And honestly, I think if Rob Williams were healthy, that's the player we need right now.
That's what I'm saying.
But he's like just not. You can't be like, all right, our big rotation is a Dembona, who is really a third center. Andre Drummond probably leaves because I just think this is probably the end of, and then Embiid and Rob Williams. Like, you need to have guys who play games. Like, I just can't imagine, unless they're fine pulling the plug again next year, but their jobs are not secure. Like, they don't have contracted. Nurse not my hot take, but like my take on this is like, I wonder if Nurse earned himself an extension with the Celtics series win. And I don't know if Daryl Morey will get one, because like, I just don't think that he's done enough.
Is how we feeling about the PG Harden trade now? Because it seemed like a pretty bad loss. Now, I don't know.
So the thing
seems fine.
So the thing that I will say is the reason why I still hate the process of everything that Morey did was he punted again for the second time on a prime Joel Embiid season. And then Joel Embiid got hurt. Has not been the same since, because this whole playoffs, even with this like amazing story, and I'm so happy for Joel and the fact that he's playing basketball again, and he's flipped the narrative and all this stuff, and I'm sure people will shit on him if we lose this next series, but whatever. But the thing that I keep coming back to is I just wish we had this team when Joel was Joel, because people will watch him and be like, wow, look how good he was, and I'm like, he was so much better before. And even though he's a very good player still, because he's just that level of talent, despite all the injuries, this guy at his peak was like an unstoppable force when he was healthy, and especially in the regular season. And I just wish that we had a team somewhat like this, and they just wasted so much time on all of this.
Sorry, real quick. I just got to take this. What's up, big dog? Yeah, no, stick with it. Hop back on the stream tonight. Let everybody, I know the tweet's not going well, but just hop back on the stream tonight. Let them all know. And don't worry about it. Okay, thanks.
Who's that?
I don't want to brag. Well, I got a new high profile client. Let's just say someone on one of my favorite teams, and I'm his new digital strategy guy.
Oh, so, let's go.
I've given him a little bit of advice. We got off to a rough start, but he had a tweet today, stream yesterday. That's going really well. So I'm telling him to hop back on tonight.
Sam didn't want to tell you guys, but he is working with Sam Hauser now.
That's why he sucked in the playoffs. He also started podcasting. If Drew Hanlon gets Tatum on a podcast, I'm falling to my knees, dude.
Yeah, you guys are fully cooked.
The first team completely destroyed by podcasts.
Yeah. PG quit his podcast and he's a demon now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, I guess that's not true. The Warriors are probably the first team destroyed by podcasts. But no, second team destroyed by podcasts. Yeah. So, yeah.
So, all right. We didn't get to the we keep pushing off the Rocket season obituary, by the way. We keep going push.
Let's just 11 minutes. It's gonna be.
Let's bang it out.
Do we have much to say on that? I don't.
They're keeping everyone. Once again, a massively disappointing playoff loss. I don't care the context. That's crazy that they were massive favorites. They blew game 3. They this of everyone we talked about. You could
not everyone can beat Marcus Smart, dude.
No, I mean
championship teams and the greatest coach of all time in Eric Spoelstra and Steve Kerr. Those are the only teams that beat Marcus Smart, man. Clearly, you got to come correct if you're going to play Marcus Smart.
Clearly, Ime Udoka was a Marcus Smart merchant.
I love this because, again, Marcus Smart is only going to lose to the defending champs. So, again, bulletproof.
I was going to say, Ime Udoka career playoff record with Marcus Smart on his team, 3-1.
Yeah.
Career record without Marcus Smart, 0-2.
Yeah. He had Kevin Durant. He swapped Marcus Smart for Kevin Durant. And it all fell apart.
No other context necessary, baby.
No other context.
They do have a Steve Nash-like prospect in Reed Shepherd, too.
So funny.
It's honestly, people don't even understand because I follow some Rockets fans.
Yeah.
Raphael Stone's leaks he definitely learned from Daryl Morey.
Yeah,
because I remember Daryl Morey being like, we'll never trade Isaiah Joe. And then we cut him 6 months later. And I'm like, well, we didn't trade him. So technically true.
Technically.
Yeah.
That's kind of right. Technically.
And he clearly learned from Morey because my favorite leak of his ever was the Sixers love to say this too, but the Rockets view Daisha Nix as a lottery level prospect. And it's
Jason Tate is going to be around for a long time.
Jason Tate is 30 years old and he's been a fringe NBA player his entire career. He was a 25-year-old rookie and was the Rockets have some incredible little stories when you follow them on a more regular basis. And this year it obviously kind of all blew up in their faces. Everyone pretty much has admitted that they know that it was Kevin Durant, that the burners were definitely his. It fucked up the chemistry in the locker room. Demon Morey almost got away with it because if they had collapsed in the regular season instead of the playoffs, we would be sitting with the 17th pick in the draft right now instead of the 22nd pick. But the Rockets obviously have all these injuries. Steven Adams, Fred VanVleet, Kevin Durant in the playoffs. Still disappointing regardless when you have this young core who you really don't know what to make of it now. Tari Eason is a restricted free agent. They already locked up Jabari Smith on his contract. Şengün's contract extension is going into year 2 now. And Kevin Durant is apparently part of their future plans. And I think that's more, we're not losing this fucking trade style leak, because I think that I have a hard time thinking that Durant understands that no one's going to want him anymore.
Yeah.
But I think we will get some leaks over the offseason about him maybe looking in other directions to potentially.
Kevin Durant is open to joining the New York Knicks this offseason. No way, dude.
No way. After they win the title?
Yeah, after they win the title. That's crazy.
They have to lose in the finals for him to do that, because I don't know if you remember this, but there was the year that I think it was the year that he was thinking about leaving the Nets. They were like, he's open to joining the Celtics unless they win the finals, because then he doesn't want to look like a front runner again. So I'm looking at this. Yeah. No, never mind. I forgot he signed an extension. My bad. What I was going to say was, if he has 1 year left on his deal and the Rockets call and say Paul George for Kevin Durant trade, let's just say the Sixers get crushed in the Knicks series. and they said, we'll take on the extra year of Paul George and you take on Kevin Durant. But Kevin Durant is the same time. I don't think the Sixers would do it because Kevin Durant is a locker room pain in the ass. But he makes less money than Paul George the next 2 years, but he also is still a 2-year deal. If he was a 1-year deal, I think the Sixers would consider it.
Dude, him and Joel Embiid in the same locker room would be a movie, just in terms of like sniping and like, I don't think like Joel doesn't like snipe teammates, but if Kevin Durant was acting crazy, I think he would like
definitely
like destroy him. Yeah,
Joel at a minimum used to leak things. I know.
Yes.
And I think he's past that point of his career now, but
yeah.
I also
he's an old man now. He's
a
world weary 35-year-old. Like,
he's 30, 31, 32.
Is he really 31?
I think Joel's 32.
That's crazy.
He just turned 32, I think. Hold on, let me look this up.
How is that real, dude? He's been in the league for 90 years.
32. He just turned 32 in March. He was 2014 draft. He didn't play his first 2 years.
Yeah, man.
So, God, incredible to where his career went after that. So Kevin Durant, you got to know what you're doing with that. Tari Eason, you got to figure out. They don't have any draft picks, which I think that they're at this point, like, can they even afford to add more unknowns with Ime Udoka as the coach and kind of them? Like, I think they're a team that is primed to make splash moves, but I don't think they will, like these are the players on their roster that are signed up under contract for next year.
Okay.
I can't believe Dorian Finney-Smith is still under contract for this what a bad signing that was. Kevin Durant, Alperen Şengün, Fred VanVleet, Steven Adams, Jabari Smith Jr., Reed Shepherd, Amen Thompson, Clint Capella has 2 more years left on his deal. I don't think Dorian Finney-Smith and Clint Capella have fully guaranteed deals, to be clear, but they still are under contract for next year at a minimum. And then they have Tari Eason, and then all of their free agents are like the fringe guys, the Aaron Holidays, the Josh Okogis of the Rockets. And so I think they'll probably try to get Tari at like a decent, like $18 million, maybe $20 million a year contract. Although that's starting to add up money wise. My question, and I wonder if another team throws a huge bag at Tari, like if the Bulls throw $28 million a year at Tari Eason, I
would not match that shit. No fucking way. Like,
I don't think they will. They can't. They're at $184 million on the books. They'd have to dump someone.
I want to be careful here. I don't think Jabari. I'm less worried about Jabari Smith, the 5th starter, than I was like a year and a half ago. I think that's like totally fine. Yeah, like
he's kind of beat some allegations in the second half of the season into the playoffs.
Yeah, which again, anytime it's the second half of the season, it's like, well,
but he did it in the playoffs.
He was playoffs.
One of their more consistent players in the playoffs, even though they went out sad.
I'm all right. Like, it would suck to lose Tari for nothing, but like, I don't think you can. You've got like, as much as annoying as it is, you are still pretty flexible. You know what I'm saying? You do still have a lot of buttons to push. Still.
That's my question is, do they?
Yeah, they're not as good picks, but they have some picks. You can toss Reed into something, and combine your salary to get like another good guy. If you want to like accelerate your time, you could toss Şengün in the front run.
Well, that's the thing, is that I think Şengün's kind of in the Paulo camp where like his PR and his value has probably never been lower, and he's on a pretty big contract, so it's easier said than done to trade him.
Yeah. I agree.
They'll probably try to rehab everyone on their roster's value, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I think this is just kind of if Tari gets a crazy bag, you probably have to let him walk or work out a sign and trade with another team.
Yeah.
And I think that it is, and he said like Tari's part of our future. The only reason I think a team would be hesitant to give Tari a big bag, even though there are not a lot of good free agents, is that he's just always injured.
That's what I was going to say. I'd be terrified to give Tari a big bag for that reason. It's not that I don't think Tari is good. I think he's a little overrated.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, he's a really good bench wing.
He's a good bench wing, but I don't know if I'm giving that guy. I would be scared to give him more than like $25 million a year, especially with his like availability.
I think he's like an $18 to $20 million a year player at this point. Like I would be surprised.
It's always bigger than we think it is. It's always bigger than we think it is.
With
every year
Christian Brown just got 25.
Yeah. Every year I give a number that I say I'd be comfortable paying a guy, and they get $5 million more, and it's usually okay. You know, we don't have as many like terrible contracts off the rip. Like if it's not clear, it's a terrible contract off the rip. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so the Keegan Murray and Christian Brown ones are kind of testing this theory where it's
a little bit, yeah.
But then again,
you
were skeptical of them at the time. Like you were like, this is a lot of money. I was more like, whatever, you just pay the guys. And now I'm like, maybe you don't.
Well, now I'm kind of coming the other way though, because it's also wait until like it's always so scary when it's the first year of the deal and the guy looks like dog shit. But usually these kind of tend to balance out like at least a little. Paul George, and that's a total. I understand that's like
Paul
a
George has been the most
yeah.
consistently good player on a team in the second round, regardless of whether he's worth the full contract. He's making his money's worth this year.
Guys are just up and down year to year, kind of regardless. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes the trajectory does mean something, sometimes it doesn't. You know, so like in general, like if a guy has pretty low trade value and it's not tied to what he thinks he is, I'm usually not going to trade that guy. Like I would have been trying to trade Jalen Green because I know what Jalen Green thinks he is different from what Jalen Green. I know Christian Brown and Keegan Murray understand what they are.
Right.
I'm not going to try to trade those guys just for the sake of making a deal when I'm not going to get anything good back. Like I'll wait until, I'm going to bet on the ball bouncing back. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but yeah.
The Sixers had this with Quentin Grimes last year where it's like, you're not a $25-30 million a year player. And you also you have a delusional amount of confidence, which to quote Russillo, that's why he's in the league. Right. Like these guys have to be delusionally confident, but at the same time, that's why I was wondering if Tari could be the Grimes of this offseason, where he just takes the qualifying offer. But I think that's more likely to be Benedict Mathurin, to be honest with you.
Man. Mathurin.
I'm just thinking like there aren't a lot of good free agents, and there are a few teams with a little bit of money to spend.
Yeah, I wonder. There's a couple of like sneaky free because isn't Hartenstein a free agent? Like,
so they have a club option. So if they do decline the club option, I think it's one of those things where they do it just to extend him on like, we'll give you $250 to shut you up kind of thing. Like just to keep you in house. And also they don't have to pay a massive amount of money for J-Dub and Chet because they didn't make all NBA teams. And I think Shea's Supermax kicks in a year from after this offseason.
If I were Hartenstein, maybe he just likes playing. Winning helps a lot, Like
if they win back-to-back titles and OKC's like, actually, this is the perfect time to trade Hartenstein. Before the AD thing, I thought that the Wizards should have been interested in, and honestly, we're still with the AD thing.
They still should be.
I thought they should
maybe
have
they trade Anthony Davis.
Yeah, well, the Thunder wouldn't want that contract, but there might be another team. The Bulls might, the guy, the Hartenstein,
my team might. I'm going to let you in on some dark seats. There's some dark conversations going on in Boston Celtics group chats. Yeah,
I'm the guy that gets yelled at every time the Sixers get eliminated because of the insane things that I say, and it happens every year. So there's nothing that could be said that is worse than what I've said after a bad
first of all, not me. I'm just saying I've had. Sure. I'm in quite a few. I'm plugged into quite a few Celtics group chats on my phone, and on X, the everything site. Mm-hmm. There are some dark conversations going on in there, and Anthony Davis has come up in 3 of them. Like
they've always loved Anthony Davis.
It's rough, man.
Although was that Brad or Danny?
That was Danny. That was 100% Danny. Now here's the thing, though. Everyone talks about Brad Stevens. I'm sorry, it's Mike Sarah.
Sure.
And Danny Ainge lost his fastball when he left, and Brad Stevens, this lovable aw shucks guy, we've got the fucking spider, man. Like Zarin is a demon, so I think there's more of a through line. I always say there's
Also,
more of a through
I
line.
kind of like the Jazz's move since Austin Ainge got hired there.
Austin Ainge was like pretty. He was like okay, yeah. I would say like.
I mean, I don't know what his moves are. I'm just saying that it's like.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Aces was solid. I mean, I would have taken Colin Murray Boyles there probably, but Ace was a good pick. The JJJ trade I like for them. Like,
we disagree about that. We'll see on that one. That'll be that
will be our disagreement next year.
Yeah,
although it also depends on how their draft goes. Like if they draft someone I don't like, then I might.
You reserve the right to double back.
But there's not a lot of guys I think that because they clearly still it's another.
They can still use some guards. They're in a good position to draft.
Yeah, because they really only have Keontae. Like it's like you can develop a guy as Keontae becomes the guy and then make a decision. I still think that the Jazz are at a position, and I've talked about this before, where like I don't think they should be taking just a guy to fill in. Like I think they should be like, all right, if we think Mikal Brown Jr. is Damian Lillard 2.0, we should just draft him. Like, I don't think that we should be like, we have Keontae George, we're good forever. Yeah. But we'll see. They seem to be trending towards like preferring length and defense around him though, and being like, let's just lean in on that.
It feels like the league is going to be pretty good next year. Mm-hmm. We're like running out of teams.
We're going to get a crazy slop season this upcoming summer.
I was just thinking about that when we were talking about it. I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to
jinx it.
I didn't want to be like we've gotten allegations of not liking basketball and only liking slops. So I didn't want to say that.
Well, first off, that's true. Second off,
because it is true. Yeah, I don't want to.
The stress that I'm under. Actually, I actually felt so little stress relative to most second round Sixers series when I was watching that game. I yelled at a guy and I kicked him out of chat, but that was it. And one guy and but get me to the offseason is usually my thing here, but this is such a fun run for the Sixers that it just feels different this time.
You guys are playing with house money. It's my favorite. Playing with house money is the best.
All right. Do you want to know how we cope with the first loss in the thing last night?
I'll tell you what I would have said: schedule loss, and I kind of mean that. Yeah.
First off, that was my instant cope. I was like, schedule loss. I don't care. We've lost by 30 twice, and we won the series last round. Yeah. I don't care. Like whatever. I went through. So I went through, and so Chiodo sent this message, which
let him.
Of course, it started with Chiodo. This is me, Dan, and Chiodo, your buddy Dan, in a group chat. And he said we just keep sending the year 1982 into the chat because when the Sixers were down 3-1, they had not beat the Celtics since 1982 when they got blown out in game 1 and they won the series. So we just kept sending just the year 1982 into the chat, pictures, just the text 1982, things that happened in 1982. So we're just sending all of this. And then we got something yesterday, and it says the worst playoff losses in the history of the Philadelphia 76ers. Lost by 40 in 1982 to Boston, lost by 39 tonight to New York. And then Chiodo just sent a GIF that said 1982 with that. And then I said, based on history, that means we lose to OKC in the finals because the Sixers lost to the Lakers in the finals in 1982. But then they trade for a former MVP in Moses Malone after the season, which means we have to trade VJ for Giannis, unfortunately, after the season. And then this was the thing. This is the reason I brought this up. Chiodo blew my mind with this. He goes, they had an unprotected first-round pick from the Clippers in 1984. They have an unprotected first-round pick from the Clippers in 2028. That pick turned into Charles Barkley. And we were like, don't trade the pick, Daryl.
Amazing.
This is how delusional we're going after one playoff loss.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's special, like right after a playoff loss or a playoff win is always just special stuff. It's like game to game. After game 1 in the first series, I was like, this is the best Celtics team ever I've ever seen in my entire life. We're marching to the title.
Exactly.
And nothing could change that.
I said, like, people have been making fun of us or making fun of me in my group chat, the one that we're in together. And they're like saying like, oh, the if man with Joel and da-da-da. Yeah, and I'm like, we just came back down 3-1 against the Celtics in the first round. I'm going to be delusional for at least the first few games of this series. Like we're gonna have to be eliminated, shot in the head for me not to get a little bit insane for what just happened. That never happens for us, so I'm gonna be delusional about it for a little bit.
We'll see. Yeah, well, we're gonna see. I need. That said, if it like comes out that like Chase Infinity like wished OG Anunoby like good luck after the Met Gala like yesterday, like unfortunately,
Anne Hathaway has
yeah
betraying her city of Philadelphia, the Eagles. I know she's a Knicks fan, but she's betraying us by co-signing OG and having him goes Devil Wears Prada mode.
We have the courtside baddies. Unfortunately, Jordan Poole has lost claim on courtside baddies. That is firmly an OG. It is an OG Anunoby property at this point.
Yeah. Draft lottery Sunday.
Oh God! What a fucking movie! I forgot about that. This is the best time of the year.
We get you. I'm streaming for we'll be on the YouTube for the draft lottery. Obviously, we'll be on for the Sixers games. Chiodo finally gets a stream of the draft lottery leading into a Sixers game, even though it is on the second round now instead of the conference finals. That was his dream from 2022. He was like, I've had a dream that I wake up and I'm watching the draft lottery and it leads into a Sixers game and they're in the conference finals.
Did I tell you about the really funny thing that the idea that was killing me the other day as I was thinking about how there's, statistically speaking, there has to be a Wolves Chiodo who just keeps saying like, God, if we could just make the finals, I'd throw a parade. I'd throw a parade just for making the finals. Like,
one shy of the conference. Their ceiling is the conference finals every year. The second round.
The Minnesota Chiodo, who just all he wants to do is make the finals. He doesn't want to win. He just wants to make make the finals.
Amazing. Yeah. If you're out there, Minnesota Chiodo, hit us up.
Yeah, hit us up, Minnesota Chiodo. It's Joe Mandy, Parks and Rec writer, is now the Minnesota Chiodo.
Peter's gonna be listening to this, be like, I guess I'm not cool enough to be Chiodo. And
you gotta put your reps in. You gotta put your reps in, Peter. Right. No, young man. Young men gotta grind for this.
Peace.